painel em inglês, vocês vão ter a tradução simultânea pelos fones de ouvido. E a gente vai mergulhar na vibrante e crescente comunidade Godot e saber mais sobre as inovações que estão transformando o seu ecossistema, fazendo com que o desenvolvimento de jogos seja mais divertido, fácil e acessível. Maravilhoso, acessível como esse cara está fazendo aqui o trabalho dele impecavelmente. A gente vai trazer alguns projetos preeminentes que emergem desse ecossistema e trazer muitas informações valiosas e inspiradoras. Então eu quero, por favor, agora, uma salva de palmas. Welcome to the stage, Pedro Jardim, George Marques e Lisandro Lorea. Welcome.
Hello, hello.
You're welcome. Please.
Amazing.
So guys, the stage is yours now. Have fun, okay?
Thank
See
you
you
so
later.
much for the
Thank you.
introduction. Hello, everybody. Super nice to see you all here. Thanks for making your way in the morning and being there with us. So we're super excited about it. I am Pedro Jardim. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Anitya. And on my side here, I have George. George is the co-founder and also CEO of Vertex Ludi. He's going to talk more about that, but it's in a very exciting studio or company that's helping you to build games within the Godot community. And he's also, I must say, the person that maintains the GD script. So he's been maintaining the code that all of you developers in Godot use for your everyday life. And on the other side, I have Lisandro here, and Lisandro is working in W4 Games, and W4 Games is building quite some interesting products that allow you as a developer in the Godot ecosystem to be able to easily deploy your projects, have multiplayer, have cloud services. He's gonna talk more about that. And I would also talk more about Anitya, which is an easy way for you to build immersive experiences without having to download anything. We will get into this. But today we are here to talk about the Godot ecosystem, to give you some more insights on what's happening there and what are the stats, what are the new information, so that you can understand. And so basically that is going to be one great part of the presentation, and then we're going to go through a bit of what W4 Games is doing, what Anitya is doing, and also what Vertex Ludi is doing. So here we go. We start Godot and its emerging ecosystem. So Godot is the fastest growing game engine at this point, and is loved by developers because it's made to be used in every use case. And with Godot, you can build not only 2D games, but you can also build 3D games. And it comes with a lot of powerful features. And just the most important part is only 40 megabytes that you have to download. And if you look at the apps released per month on Godot, in the first slide there, it's like growing exponentially, and you can see that also on the Google Trends slide, that Godot as a topic is going up very much. So it is the fastest growing community of gamers in the world, and it is about 2,000 active individuals contributing monthly into this, about 40 core developers and 10 people that are working on the Godot Foundation, where also George is part of. So it's the most active open source game engine community in the world right now. And it's also free, it's also distributed and collaborative. So being one of the largest projects on GitHub, it's also one of the projects that drives most individuals. So in terms of open source projects, you have Godot as the biggest open source project by the measure of individuals. So of course Linux has more people, but there are lots of companies paying for those people to be there. Godot is the biggest in that sense. And it's also super permissive, so you have the MIT license, so it allows you to really do a lot with it and own and make it your own way, right? So also consistently tops on the 10% of OS rank, and it's also among the biggest FOSS projects such as Linux and so on, as I said. One other thing that is really important is to observe the growth of the community. So here you have like the growth of Reddit, X, Discord, and Stars. You can see that the growth is picking up, and so there's more and more developers joining the community. And now, George, if you want to speak a bit more.
Yeah, I want to say like that using Godot is very easy. So Godot is very programmer friendly. If you already know how to program, you have like the GDScript language that I am the maintainer of, and it's very simple. It's is like inspired by Python, the syntax, and it's very easy to pick it up. If you already know how to program, you can like pick it up in a day. It's very simple like that. But if you prefer to use like some other language, we have official support for C# and C++, and we have like community maintained bindings for Swift and Rust and other languages, even Python too. So you can do whatever you want in Godot. And not only that, like Godot works everywhere. If you want to program on Windows or Linux, and you can do it that way. It has native Windows and Linux and macOS support. You can export to all the platforms, and we have support for the major mobile platforms like iOS, Android, and it also runs on the web. Even editor can run on the web, so you can like make your games everywhere, and they run everywhere too. And we have support for consoles, which are provided by some third-party companies like W4 Games that Lisandro we're gonna talk a little bit later, and also supports like AR and VR like that. So it works anywhere you want.
Amazing. So also Godot is highly adopted. So basically here you have a distribution of who primarily works with Godot. Mostly is hobbyists and people that are doing this on the side. But we also have a growing amount of full-time indie developers, and then we also have like professional gaming companies, and then there's also a part of a non-gaming related companies, and then also very widely used on education and research. And just to have a number, the Godot 4.21 has already over 700,000 downloads, and I think it's been launched in November. So a little bit later. So, and there's over 2 million lifetime installs and 30 plus monthly active users. This is estimated by this team. And then you have notable companies part of the ecosystem, like as Google, Sega, Tesla is using also Godot in their screen to render some things. Meta has also contributed a lot to the community, and Visteon, which is also using that for the consoles of cars, right?
Yeah, it's basically for the car displays.
Exactly.
They use Godot to design the displays of the car, so everything like speed, from entertainment, so everything you see in your car, they use all the UI toolkit that Godot has. Is great, and many people use for non-gaming apps. They use that basically to build the interface, and then they deploy it to
And who has helped them to get there?
That's been a partnership with W4 Games.
Amazing. That's really cool. So yeah, it's widely used by independent developers. So the Godot is the fastest technology adopted by independent developers, and so this whole hobbies, casual developers has the highest adoption by the curve by the pros. So you can see here, like on this Game Jam 2023, like the sort of distribution between Unity, Godot, and then you have some sort of other engines there. And also you can see here on the chart below, you can on the itch.io, you can see that Godot is the project that is in the third place from most published projects, right? So, and it's growing much faster than others, so it's on its way to catch up and take over at some point. Maybe a bit about the mission of Godot.
Yes, so we have like the Godot Foundation, and we have the mission to sustain the Godot project as a free and open source project for everyone. It's a technology that's available for anyone that wants with no charges. It's very open license with the MIT. You can do like pretty much whenever you want. It's like it's your engine that you can change and use it the way you want it. We have a priority for like open standards. We support Vulkan and OpenGL, like the GLTF format for intent-changing model data, WebGL for the web, OpenXR for XR headsets and stuff like that, and everything. Like we support Linux natively. So we have very actively wanting to work with open standards, and our development process is also open. So if you go to our GitHub page, everything is there, like all the process, all the pull requests, the bug reports, everything we do is happening there. We have like discussion platforms that they are also open. Anyone can enter and participate in the discussion. So everything that we do is open to the public and anyone can participate.
Amazing. So Godot allows you to do anything a modern engine asks you to do in a light and elegant way. So what am I saying? Like in general, if you're gonna work with Unity, if you're gonna work in Unreal, you're gonna hang on the rendering. You're gonna have lots of problems with versions in Unity, and Godot is just 10 times lighter than Unity. And how many times lighter than Unreal?
100 times.
This is a number, right? It's a number to clap your hands for the Godot community for making this, right? Amazing. And so you can read some of the comments. I mean, there are so many reviews and so many amazing reviews about Godot, but let's read some of them. I don't really see another open source game engine that is equally ambitious. All I have to say, all I have to do is sit back and watch it become the Linux of interactive 3D.
Yeah, if I may add something, it's not only that it is lighter as a download, but also you don't need any license, so you don't need any registrations. You won't never have the problem that, oh, I don't know, you are working somewhere where you don't have a good internet, and suddenly it doesn't want to certify the license, and you are kicked out of your own product, or that it's just slower to load up. Like you can work on a very big 3D project in Godot, and you can afford to just like, okay, I changed branches. Okay, I can just close it and then open it again, and that will be one minute tops. You want to test the game, if you're using GDScript, for example, you press F5, and in, let's say, a couple seconds, you have your game running, and you can edit it live. You change something in the engine, you will see it live. If you are working on mobile phones, for example, you have the actual game running live. You only deploy the runtime, you don't need to deploy the whole assets. The assets will be streamed from your computer to your phone live while the game is running. You can change the scripts also live while the game is running. So productivity and iteration speed is something that is at the core. It is one of the reasons why more and more companies are shifting towards Godot, because it adds more value, especially if you have a small team.
Yeah, let's read another nice review here. Open source was the big reason for trying, but I stuck around because of Godot 4.0. Do you guys know about Godot 4.0? I think before I continue this, we need to give some more insights on what Godot 4.0 is and why it is so important, and why has it been such a big shift for what it was before. Because before, as you might know, Godot, you have like a 2D Godot and you have like a 3D Godot, so everything is a bit like separated, and the Godot 4.0 is a whole rebuild, right? Maybe you can talk more about this.
Yes,
George,
exactly.
Like YouTube.
We have worked for like years. It was definitely the biggest Godot release. It started with changing the whole rendering engine to use Vulkan and use like modern APIs. I personally worked on GDScript. I rewrote a good part of GDScript, improving performance and usability in a lot of the areas. We shifted to have like a common API. So like if you use 2D and go to 3D, the API is very similar. So you don't have to learn a lot of new things. You can like shift between one and another, and it's like easier to have. We have like the support for C#. We also have a good amount of work done on that. There's a lot of areas that changed. We broke a lot of things like in terms of compatibility with Godot 3, but like that's like for the best, because now we have more stable releases. Like they're more common. There are less compatibility breaking. So we have a lot of care to make sure that you can update the engine without breaking your projects. So the Godot 4 that is just a revolution in the Godot history, I think.
You want to say anything more about Godot 4.0?
Yeah, I say that 4.0 is at the stage where we have a really nice rendering engine right now. So what happened is before Godot attracted mostly people who wanted to do retro style 3D, right? So people had the impression that Godot was only for making games that looked like, I don't know, PlayStation 1. It was actually people working very hard to make those games look like that. But actually, the rendering engine was a really modern rendering engine. And now we have studios like Beepin' Bits that are pushing the engine to the limits. And that also means that our rendering engineers are working to make it better and better and better and more flexible to those kind of studios. So the idea is that it has to be super easy to use for 90% of people, but the remaining 10% that need to do more with the engine, they should also have a way to make it work exactly the way they want. So Godot has a redesigned pipeline now, rendering pipeline, to be more flexible. So there's a lot of work in the rendering area to be basically up to the task that all these companies that are now adopting Godot, larger studios, so that they can do what they want to do with the engine. So that is great. It's like a virtuous circle of improvement.
Yeah, that's really amazing. So let's continue to this quote. So open source was the big reason for me trying, but I got stuck around mainly because Godot 4.0, which we now know what it is, made it so easy for me to transfer my C# knowledge. As someone with almost 10 years in another engine, I have found Godot to be amazingly easy to adapt and also provides some awesome out-of-the-box features. So that's really cool. Would you like to go over the other one?
Okay, that it's free open source is a big plus, of course, but knowing just how much love and care is poured into this engine makes me love it infinitely more than any other. Yeah, two things there. So open source, it has many advantages. In the case of Godot, it's MIT, so it means it's open source, but if you need to develop anything on top of Godot and you don't want to open source that, you don't need to. You can keep your changes. Unlike, for example, GPL license projects, if you do changes, you need to open source those. With MIT, if you have a company and it's like, no, it's part of our business, we don't want to release that, you don't. Most people do because you don't want to maintain your own stuff. But it's completely free for you to do what you want. And it also, even if you don't plan to add anything to the engine being open source, it means that you can, if you're having a problem or if you don't know how the engine is doing something, you can always check the code. And Godot has a very readable code. If you don't know C++, but you know how to use GDScript, you will find it's really easy to read the C++ code because it's mostly calls to the Godot API. And also regarding love and care, yeah, it's a very active community. It's a community, I say, with no toxicity. It's a very welcoming community, which is something that's really important. If you're a beginner, you don't want people telling you how, okay, go read the documentation. It's like people try to be nice. If something is a very common question, they'll link you to the documentation, but they'll try to explain to you. So trying to build a welcoming, inclusive community is also at the core of the Godot mission.
Yeah, I must add to that. It's organized with a lot of love, and like you guys, everybody has done such a good job getting there, and it's also very organized. For like an open source project, it's very organized. It has a foundation, it has a structure, it has a board, it organizes events, so that's also really great. And it shows that the process through which the Godot community has gone through it really establishes it as a project for the future and for the long term, and that's really amazing. So let's get some overview of what we talked about. So we have proven reliability. It's been there almost over 10 years of development, with the 4.3 coming soon. What is the next overview point?
We have a very rich feature set. We have like tools for pretty much anything you need in the game, like animation, scripting, UI. The UI in Godot is very good. Like a lot of people really like the way you do UI in Godot. Some people use it to make it like applications even. So we have also tile maps, physics, XR, multiplayer, and the list like it goes on and on and on.
And what is very important is the next point is
Which one?
lightweight.
Oh basically what we already said about download, but it also means lightweight. Also means that it's lightweight to run. So we even have a beta editor for Android tablets. So you can even if you're for example, if you have a school and you have Chromebooks, you can even have Godot run there. I've seen Godot run on a Raspberry Pi. So even on really low end hardware, if you have like a 2D game or a simple interactive experience that you want to bring to an event, you can bring a super small Raspberry Pi and it will work even there. So yeah, it's important because you want to add your stuff. So the engine should be as lightweight as possible. You don't want to say, oh, the engine is this huge overhead, so I have to add my game on top of that, and the engine is already a lot in terms of weight, in terms of performance. So it has to be lightweight.
I mean, that seems very like taken for granted, but like if you look next door on the other engines, it's not the case. It's a very unique thing to be able to be in that position and have something so elegantly light, and I think it doesn't go without re-emphasizing how important that is, especially as well around accessibility, right? We don't want to have the future of gaming, we don't want to have the future of metaverse, we don't want to have the future of this technology being only designed and shaped by people that have money to buy expensive computers, right? So it's very important that you have this opportunity and this accessibility for everybody to be able to shape that as well. And on top of this, it is outstanding for 2D and also 3D support. So there's an excellent capabilities for 2D with a solid growing 3D features as well. And to the other point, it is also
it's open source, so it's like fully open source. Like you said before, the MIT license, you can do anything you want. And also, there's an insurance that it always be free, because the engine that we have now, we cannot like change it. We cannot like change the license and now it's closed, because it's already open. It's already in the MIT license. So what's in there now is already yours. You can use it however you want it.
And the last point is the accessible code base.
Yeah, I think I already mentioned it before, but yeah, to give a bit of a more in-depth example, a lot of times I find myself like I want to do something, and I know that the editor does it, and it's like, okay, let's see what the editor does. So I check the C++ code, and it's basically almost one-to-one doing that in GDScript. So sometimes you can steal from the engine code, basically, because it's so easy to read. It's like, oh, okay, I can do the same in GDScript. So if you are building an app or a game and you need some functionality that is not exposed, it's very easy. If you want to build an extension, if you want to understand how some part of the engine is working, you can go beyond. You don't need to rely only on the documentation. If the documentation it doesn't go in depth enough, you can always read the code, and it's really, really easy to read. I've read the code for other engines, and it's a mess. It's super complicated. It has like a million files for one thing, and that is also because Godot tries to be lean, because it doesn't have that pressure that we need to build more and more and more features, because we need more and more users, because that more users mean more licenses, which means more money. Godot is for the community, so we do what the community demands. So if the community says, hey, this is not working or this is not easy to use, that will be the focus. The focus will be what the community needs, not what we think will bring more money, basically, because it's a non-profit.
Amazing. Oops. I think, yes. So that's a very important point. Like, help the community to grow. So I think there's like multiple ways that you can help. Of course, you can donate with your time, or also you can donate resources to the community in terms of money. So the community accepts donations from companies, from individuals, and corporate sponsoring, and also accept direct donations. Also donations to work on specific areas. So you can go into the roadmap, you can contribute to the code, and you can help the community to grow. And I think what's really important, maybe you want to say something about that, is the use of those proceeds, right? It's how efficient it is as well. The donations is like you're not going to sustain a very heavy organization full of hierarchies. Maybe you talk a bit more about that.
Yeah, so I'm a part of the foundation board. So I'm part of the group of people who decides how to use the money that we get from donations, and that's really important because we always in touch with the community. We have like a group of all the maintainers that in multiple areas of the Godot source code that we're in touch with. We are in touch with like content creators, people who are making games and stuff like that, and you are like trying to figure out like what is the need of the community, and we get these funds and prioritize the things that are more needed, like more urgent, something that's something that the community needs. And we use that money to hire contributors. There's a lot of people who are already contributing like voluntarily, and they have like maybe have an opportunity to be hired directly for the foundation and have more time to work on the things that are already working and making the engine like better. And we are using like the money to I mean, there is also some support money. We have the website, we have the forums for like the community, we have the chat for developers, and all of those like are hosted somewhere. They cost money. We need to like pay for the servers, and this is like super important for all the organization. Like Pedro was talking about how organized everything is, and that's like a very important point that we use the money for. And we make sure that the community stays together. So we have like a community manager to make sure that we can also like be in touch with the community and make sure we know their needs, to make sure we can use the money in the proper way. So if you can contribute to the Godot monetarily, like that's very important. Yeah, if you can make a donation to the project.
Amazing. So re-emphasizing, 100% of contributors. Like the money comes 100% from contributors and donations, right? All the resources are coming from the community and the contributors. So now we're gonna highlight some of the projects that are some key companies working in the Godot ecosystem, and we're gonna tell you a bit more on what they do. And we're gonna start with Lisandro talking about W4 Games, and then I'm going to talk about Anitya, and then we have George talking about Vertex Ludi. What is W4 Games?
Okay, so, basically, well, as we have explained, Godot is managed by a foundation, a non-profit foundation. And what happened is that Godot started being used by hobbyists, still the majority. And as those people grew and started larger and larger studios, or as companies started migrating towards Godot, they found themselves needing some corporate entity they could rely on, because sometimes you like, if I have a problem and that problem is costing me money, who can I rely on? Who can I talk to that can solve this for me? Or if I want to port my game to consoles, for example, you cannot have console code in an open source repository. That's not a technological issue. That's a legal issue with how it works with console manufacturers. They make you sign a non-disclosure agreement, so you're gonna have that. So those were some problems that you had with as many advantages you had with an open source project. You also have some issues, and basically W4 Games is a company that is founded by Godot veterans, including Juan Linietsky, one of the co-founders of Godot itself, to solve all those issues. So our main mission is accelerating the adoption of Godot, reducing friction in any way we want, promoting open source as a viable option in games, as it is in many other industries. Like, as you can see in the web, open source is now the main type of software being used. So we want to push the same towards game, which so far relies a lot on proprietary software. And basically, what are the main things we offer? Well, as I said, we offer enterprise support. We offer console platforms, and we have cloud offerings for multiplayer games. And well, so far we are expanding rapidly. We have closed a Series A. We have been working with some large companies. We had been working with Meta, for example, a few months ago. We also try to support Godot in many ways. For example, we are one of the sponsors for the Godot booth here. We will also be sponsoring Godot in Argentina. We sponsor Godot at GDC for a couple of years, and we plan to do it in the future. So basically, everything we can do to help adoption. So going a bit more in depth with one of our products, this is what most people know about. This is W4 consoles. So I'm going to say what it is and what it is not. So basically, we are a middleware approved provider, so by Nintendo, Sony, Xbox, for the console builds of Godot. If you want to run Godot on consoles, so if you have, let's say you have your team, you have your Nintendo, Sony, or Xbox dev kit, and you want to work on your console stuff, you want to be able to try the game, you need those console builds that cannot be put freely available in the open due to legal reasons, as I said before. So we can provide those. It is a subscription service, so you subscribe. That we have different tiers depending if you're an indie, if you're a large company, if you're a publisher, a porting house. So we have different plans, and you basically subscribe. You get access to that. You get source code access, so it's not just an export template that you can build to. You have the actual source. If you stop subscribing, you just lose access to updates, but you still have what you got. So basically what it is not is we are not a porting house itself. It's not that you give us the game and we'll make it run on Switch. That already exists. There are a couple companies that are already working on doing porting services, but what other larger companies needed is, no, we just want the builds. We want to do it ourselves. What we don't want to do ourselves is build the whole console, Godot for console. We don't want to have to maintain that because it's really expensive to maintain. Every console has different hardware, and you want rendering to work flawlessly. It's very difficult to certify middleware for consoles. So basically, we do that. We hire the team. We do that for you, and it's just basically a subscription service. The next one is W4 Cloud. So this is for multiplayer. So before talking about it, let's go to the first video. It's the W4 Cloud video. Okay, so basically, as you have seen, is if you are building a multiplayer game, Godot offers a very easy way to do multiplayer. So to basically send packets back and forth between clients, synchronize what's happening in the game. That's really easy to do in Godot. But if you have a larger project, if you need player authentication, if you need databases with persistent information, if you need dedicated servers. So all that, it's very costly to build. You need very experienced human resources. So basically it's the same. We are doing all that for you, and we are offering that as a service with, again, that you can customize as you want. If you just need lobbies and matchmaking, and the game is peer-to-peer, you can do that. If you need dedicated servers, we can also offer that. And that is in beta. It's going to be launched, if I'm not mistaken, by the end of the year. So you can already request, if you want to try testing that, you can already request beta access. And yeah, basically for anything you want to do in terms of multiplayer.
Thanks so much. So now I'm going to go over Anitya. So Anitya is a way for you to build immersive experiences without needing to code. Let me go back here. Imagine you love Godot, you love all the features, that is light, that is everything what we just talked about, but you are not a coder. You don't know how to code. You are a visual person. You are a game designer. You are some person that just wants to make a game happen, wants to build an experience because you have the creativity, but you don't want to know how to code. We got together with one of the other co-founders of Godot, who is Ariel, and we've been building Anitya. And Anitya allows you to do that. So imagine you take a blender and you blend the simplicity of Wix, which is like a way to build websites with Webflow, and integrating the powers of Zapier, like you put all like different APIs, and the design flexibility of Figma, and then you create a seamless, efficient platform that allows no coders to act like game developers. So that's what Anitya is. And Anitya is a web-based, low-code, light, multi-device, immersive experience builder. And we have a very short video, which is the second video there, to show and how it works. So please, let's play the video.
This is Anitya, the tool that we are creating to make 3D world builders' life easier. As a 3D designer, I always start by setting up my skybox. This is an easy process inside Anitya, and usually my first step. It provides the scene and environment for us to start bringing the 3D assets. You can choose your objects from inside our library or upload your own 3D files. With our solution, you have an instant 3D visualization of your project and a very user-friendly way to navigate, drag and drop files, and change position, rotation, scale, and everything you need to do in order to organize your virtual space. Also talking about organization, you can easily group, rename, duplicate, and navigate with shortcuts between your elements panel. We want Anitya to be very useful for a lot of purposes, so we have a terrain library with different types of topology and graphic styles. Also, Anitya provides a very compelling water tool that is easy to customize and very light in terms of performance, because we also think on low-end machines that will run our app. If you want to push for a more realistic graphic, you can use our directional light with real-time shadow effect. It's a very easy to customize tool that you can change color, attenuation, energy, and lots of other things. We understand how important text can be for a virtual environment. It can appear as a sign or as an information, and with Anitya's text mesh system, you can create and customize your own 3D texts without needing to upload any new asset. Use your creativity to provide a good name, descriptions, and thumbnails to your project. You can either make it more personal or more commercial. Anitya allows you to preview your animation from inside the builder mode, so you can not only preview it but also trigger it and make sure that it will gonna work on the play mode. If you want some cool procedural particle effects, you can use our particle system. In there you can change the spread, the speed, the gravity, the lifetime, the size, the material, and of course our tool supports different formats of media that will make your project more complete. Our solution allows the user to make a complex sound experience with our spatial audio feature. You can preview the range of each audio file from inside the builder mode and make the user feel that they are inside of a real life space. But not only that, the spatial audio responds to the user position, so you have the on, left, right, stereo working inside of the experience. Here in Anitya, we believe on the integration of several tools inside of our web space, so we create a hyperlink system to facilitate the navigation between different platforms. Now, any 3D object can be a hyperlink to another website. Using Anitya, you can configure your project to be as much gamified as you want it to be. You can create your own triggers and actions, teleport system, real-time mini-maps, and export it for different devices. This kind of flexibility allows you to make spaces to learn on the educative area, train inside technical simulations, play and explore. So, if you want to create good immersive experiences for web, VR or other devices, trust Anitya only. This tool is here to help you making everything easier.
Yeah, so we have a little time, so I'm not going to extend much about it, but it's web-based. Our beta is out. You can go to the website and subscribe to the beta. You can test it. You don't need code. You can just do it out of your browser, and it works pretty much on every computer. And now I want to hand it to you, George, and please tell us, what is Vertex Ludi?
Yeah, so Vertex Ludi is a company that I've opened recently. And for the people who don't know me, I'm going to introduce myself again. I'm a contributor of Godot since 2015. So I'm one of the most veterans contributors in the engine. So I have a lot of experience since the very beginnings. I was part of all the major updates, Godot 2, Godot 3, and Godot 4. And now I have Vertex Ludi, which is a company that I'm using my expertise and my experience to provide support and consulting services and development services for the teams that are using Godot. If you're using Godot in your studio and you need like some help, maybe you need to offload some of the work, or maybe you need to fix an engine bug that's not have been fixed for some reason, and you need like to be done like quicker, or if you need a new feature in the engine, like you can contact Vertex Ludi and we can help you. And you can find a way to better use Godot, essentially.
Amazing. So guys, thanks so much for coming here. Here you get all our context. Please make a picture, send us requests. We will give you exclusive ways of looking at all our beta things. So do not feel shy to write to us. Join our Discord and be present. And let's make a great feature together. Thanks so much, and please put all your hands together for all of those amazing people here doing this great work with the Godot community, and thanking you for being part of that too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Pedro, George, and Lisandro. Thank you so much for the time. Have a great time in Gamescom Latam.
Yes.
You're
We have a stand, guys. We have a Godot stand. Come talk to us there. We're going to be there until Sunday. And tonight, we have a Godot meetup, yeah? We are fully booked, but if you come talk to us when we go out here, we will probably find a way to squeeze you in. So it will be really nice. There will be pizza, drinks, and it's not here, but so join us if you like.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Uma salva de palmas, galera. Muito obrigada.
Thanks again. Thanks.
Obrigada mesmo.